Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wednesday, the last of our masterclasses. The masterclass that we call Release, Reset, and then we get to rework. Our masterclasses have always been 4 weeks in duration. It's just a nice way to bank up and progress through a series of classes to, I guess, get us to a final end. Which means that next Wednesday is still September, but we won't have a masterclass. So maybe you get to choose one of your very favourite masterclasses. I'll post that anyway. And I'll jump on live on Sunday afternoon and give you a little week that was and explain a few little bits and pieces to you about next week. I see you all scrolling on. How nice is it to still sit here at 6 o'clock and see, I can see outside. That's so beautiful, isn't it? It's this spring forest, gorgeous. So as per the masterclass, 5 minutes of pranayama, we'll do a 15-minute practice, we'll do a 20-minute release, and then we'll go back and revisit that 15-minute practice. My intention for tonight is that as we've gone through from week 1, we've started at the feet, we've moved all the way up. We did lower back last week. This week I wanted to just focus on the upper back and its opposing muscle, the chest. Okay. Upper back / I'm going to say across this girth, across this area here. So that's going to include things like this muscle group here called the latissimus dorsi. I call them our underarm muscles. It's a sort of a bank, it's a muscle that actually starts up here and runs down the back and comes around here into the side ribs. And then we'll do that sort of mid thoracic right up to the upper thoracic. And we'll work on the pecs opening up and releasing through here. The practice then that we will do, I want us to keep that very much in mind when we go through each of our poses and see what kind of variations may come from a change in fascial release, if any at all. Okay, if any at all. I must say I was absolutely, what's the word I say? I was blown away and I was full of gratitude this morning when I got a phone call and a message was left, because I was actually teaching live. Could see the phone call coming up from one of you beautiful people who rang me to say that they had gone to sleep a couple of previous nights and woke up in quite extreme pain through their thoracic and just exhausted from the stiffness and the lack of mobility that came from that. And she did one of the little short but sweets, which looked at like, so I'm guessing it was one of the ones that had like a lot of open closed books and thread the needles and a lot of thoracic rotation. And she did it during I'm guessing the night before, went to sleep, woke up the next morning, which I think was this morning, and was absolutely pain-free and just couldn't believe the difference that it had made. And she was so grateful for the practice. So it works. We know it works, and fascial release is a big key in releasing a lot that goes on up through this upper back. Shall we start in some pranayama? All right, wherever you might sit, doesn't matter. You might be lying, that's all good too. We get to start with a few breaths coming in and out through the nose. Take your time here. Okay, just settle in and enjoy the opportunity to quieten the breath. And in doing so, quietening the mind as well. And when we have this beautiful slow breath and we can use that to still the mind, awesome in this practice that we're doing tonight, because we need this real clarity in our minds and our heads tonight so that we can observe and so that we can feel and we can sense if there's that change coming about, or any variation that might happen. We have this breath slowing down the heartbeat, calming and soothing the body. we just notice the chest and the belly, taking a beautiful expansive rise on the inhale. And all of that going on the exhale, emptying and letting go of any tension in the body, maybe any tightness, any resistance holding on. We notice the breath isn't rushed. We also notice the breath isn't forced or strained. So take that absolute slowness and a real steadiness to ease the breath in. To hold it and to pause it, but not to force or strain it. And then to let it go with that same gentle ease. Breath comes in, and the breath goes out. Let's keep that natural flow and that natural rhythm that comes to the breath that we've created when both your inhalation and exhalation are equal in their length. As we keep that quality of breath, we're reminding ourselves to use that breath all the way through our practice. You might like to wriggle the fingers and the toes just to bring us all back. And allowing the eyes to softly begin to open. Now we will only need the mat to start us off with, though you could use your blocks if need be to support and to prop us into practice. We'll need our therapy release balls as well, or your little tennis ball and sock as well. Come onto all fours as we start. We will move into our cat-cow, remembering knees under hips, hands under shoulders, but keeping in mind the area of focus of this class. Upper back, chest, exhale, curl. Inhale, release and follow through. Exhale, curl and pull up. Inhale to release and let go. Just take a couple more as we roll and we move through the back and the spine. I'm going to make this one our last one, last cat. And that very last cow pose, reset the back into a flat, back into what we know as our neutral. We will work through our threading the needle, open the arm up, right arm I should tell you, yep. And then inhale, thread through. We'll just make this a moving version. Exhale, check out this kind of movement that's happening in this thoracic, okay, this rib cage, this mid-back. How does it feel? Does it feel restrictive? You know, where does that arm kind of move or reach to without forcing it, without judging or wanting to compare it, but just how does it actually feel in the range and in the movement. When you finish the last one, we'll hold the right hand down onto the floor, whereby we'll then gently draw the right shoulder away from the right hand, just pulling back.
And then when you're ready to lower the head and the shoulder down to the floor, if that does feel comfortable, then take that position. If not, it's all good. You can leave the head off. Let's see what happens with the chest as we release the left arm and bring it also around behind the back. How does it feel across the chest? I'm going to bring the left hand to return back onto our mat, sliding the right hand out to bring it underneath. We'll move the other way, opening our left arm as we inhale, and then exhale, threading through. Opening, breathing in, threading and tucking as we breathe out. Good, open and thread. Good, last one. Hold it down and plant the hand, but draw the shoulder back as we recreate our stretch across the upper back. Add that little extra lie down if that feels comfy for you. And then we have our option of opening up the chest on our right side. Right arm goes up and wraps around the back here. Again, just observing and sensing how do things feel here. We have to be very, very mindful in this practice, very present. Bring this right hand to return us back onto the floor. When you're ready, we are going to fully come all the way up here as we come through on the right leg. So I call this square kneeling just because we have these little squares behind the backs of the knees. As we put our left hand onto the right knee, our right hand sits on the hip to start us off. We breathe out, we go into this rotation. Send the left-handed will be down towards the floor or a block. If it feels comfortable to open up the back left leg, you might lift it up off the floor. It's quite personal. And then you get to see what happens as we open up that right arm. Again, all very much up to how it feels and how strong that you feel. But it might be, again, that matter of observing what happens there with that right arm. As we breathe in, we're just going to push through that right leg. Find yourself into lunge, warrior one. We come and we face that front part of the mat. The thigh, I don't know, try and think of the thigh being a little more parallel towards the roof. But we split the arms and plant that back left foot to the floor as we explore warrior two. And breathing in, straightening out the front right leg. Squeeze the right heel into the center of the mat. And again, noticing how the chest responds as we find our way down here into warrior number two, triangle. Because we don't want to feel like we've got to pull this right arm, left arm back here. Reverse it. And how does the back and the thoracic feel when we reverse? Okay, I know what I need to do just because my lower back doesn't like me going into this right turn. So for me it's a little restrictive, so I need to just be mindful that becomes the case. And then breathe out, place this right hand on the floor, your left hand will follow it, and it takes us back to a dog pose. Feel what's going on in the upper back in down dog. Like how does it feel heavy? Does it feel tight? Does it get laboured and tired? Down dog requires quite an effort in the shoulders here. You'll feel that in the upper back. Quite heavy sense that there's a lot of usage of those thoracic and sort of scapular muscles here. We'll transition slowly into a plank, breathing it in. Whatever way feels comfortable, this plank gets to lower down towards the floor very slowly with the arms running by the ribs. Now here, find up dog if you can. Feet go onto the floor, hands press into the mat, and we lift. How does that feel? Chest-wise, back-wise. And breathe out, bend the knees and lower back down towards the floor. Bring your heels to your bottom. And hands will come around and find these feet. The back muscles get worked here as we find bow pose, but the chest muscles get stretched. And you'll feel how this expansiveness comes across the left shoulder blade. Collarbone to the right collarbone. And then breathe out, releasing and slowly allowing the bow to go down to the floor. Hands come back by the sides. Push up, press back. Return into your down dog once again. We're going to lead with this right leg. Bring it up behind. Knee pulls into the chest. Look forward to the hands. Step forward. And bring the left leg to join it. Inhale, roll on up. Arms will follow us. And breathe out, hands to heart center. Balance on the right foot. Eagle pose here. Now I've chosen eagle pose, and you don't have to do it in the legs. You could do the little tap for me, but I want it for the arms. So left arm wrapping around the right arm, because this is the back stretch that we get when we widen across the shoulder blades and we pull or we press the forearms into one another. And maybe we can make this what I call that eagle crunch, elbows to thigh. And then inhale up. Exhale, elbows to thigh. And inhale. With our last one, exhale. And inhale. As our feet meet the floor, breathe out, folding it all over. Back on that right leg again. And into down dog. One plank again, breathing in. And we'll move into a side plank, staying on our right side. Right hand comes into the center of the mat. We get to spin around, stacking those legs and unfolding the left arm. Feel how the back of this right shoulder feels. How does the chest on the left side feels as that arm unfolds? Breathe out, bring the hands back over onto the mat. Hold it here, breathe in. Breathe out, down we go. This time it's a cobra on the inhale. Okay, how does this feel across the chest and that mid-back? Then release into locust. Hands behind your bottom. And come on up now. And heads low, looking at the floor. Shoulder blades draw together and down, and you get the expansiveness to the chest. Prepare to bring the hands onto the mat. Inhale up and back into down dog. How are those shoulders? Let's find ourselves leading with the left leg. Now breathe in. And breathe out, knee to chest. Look forward to the hand step. Down goes that right knee, up we lift. All fours. Left hand onto our knee. Right hand sitting onto the hip. Go into your twist. Hand slides down the outside of the leg as we split the arms. The left time would open up as the right stays down. Unfold that back leg. Pull the right kneecap up and off the floor. Come to warrior one. Inhale. Spin it all around. Face that front short edge of your mat. As we exhale, there's your warrior two. Spin on those feet and arms run parallel. Feel the shoulders. Feel what kind of chest range. I can even see for me my back right arm. It's not back in line. I wanted to swing out here. Middle it's my repaired shoulder, but again, just obviously the chest is so tight that it wants to sort of sit out here. Triangle, straight leg, squeeze the left foot into the center of the mat, open the right arm up. The reverse version on your exhale, right hand around towards the floor and letting that left arm open up. And breathe out, bringing those hands back onto our mat. We've got that down dog. Sitting back into those heels, observing how the upper back, the shoulder blades all feel here. As we make that transition slowly to plank, this time as we lower, it would be an up dog. Okay, checking out what goes on in the collarbones and the mid-back. To come down, we've got knees, exhale, lower down for our bow pose, bend the knees. And we've found those ankles. Inhale, lift the chest. Shoulder blades together, gaze right down there in our mat. Release on the breath out. And here we find that down dog pose. We just have to get into those planks. And we're there, side plank, inhale, normal plank. Alrighty, get ready for that side plank. Enough side plank for you as your knees, that's all good too. It'll be the left hand though, yes. And we want to open it and fold the right arm up. Again, how does it feel in the shoulders, in that mid-back, across your chest? And breathe out, here we go. Back to your down dog. We place hands and feet in the right positions, in their alignment. Come to plank, breathe in. And breathe out, down, down, down. One cobra this time around. Giving that nice elevation of the chest. Hands around behind the bottom. Locust as we inhale. Hands to mat, breathe out. Up, back. Let's get into child's. Wriggle the bottoms back. Into the heels. Keep the arms straight. A quick observation of this upper back in child's. Even into the front of the shoulders and the front of the pecs. Okay, if you're super tight here, it's hard to get the head to the floor because it's really opening up and stretching the chest. Come on up, inhaling. Okay, spot on time. Let's see how we go. Some releases. Then back to this sequence. We need a ball. Let's start with a pec stretch on the wall. I'm going to suggest that if you have some blocks, grab one of them for me. There's a couple of ways that you can do. Actually, you know what? Stay with me on this. Keep your block. I'm going to show you a floor version first. I'm going to show you a wall version second, and I'm going to show us one that we don't need the wall, but we still need a ball. Okay. Time efficiency. If you thought, I really don't have time to do a single pec. Okay. Because that's 5 minutes each. So there's 10. I don't have 10, but I have 5 in total. 2 balls, 2 pecs. Yep. 2 blocks. My chunk's going to go between this little gully. These balls are going to go on our blocks. Head down. Balls. Now the blocks are going to have to go on a bit of an angle, otherwise they're going to be super uncomfortable against your body. If you needed something for your head to rest on, yes you could. That's up to you. But the balls go in that little, I guess this little crevice between the shoulder and the chest. And now we'll just let gravity weight us down here. So this one is what we would call compression. You might check out what's going on in the elbows, and for example, are they winging up in the air? Does it make any difference if I start to very slowly float these elbows down towards the floor? Now the balls will start to have this ever so slight rolling back action, and then you might lift the elbows off and lift them up as high as feels comfortable whilst you can keep your hands on the floor. And then using the breath out, slowly allow the weight of the elbows to tip down towards the floor. Again, it really does not matter if your elbows don't meet the mat. What we're trying to do, you can see how we roll over all the different layers simply just by moving the arms, or the elbows, shall I say. Then I will always remind you in any of your fascial release work, just watch you're not trying to pull back away from this. So am I trying to pull off the balls? And it's easy done. It's easy done. And then you've probably got your feet or your toes tucked under here, like we would if we were going to go up and into down dog. And then that very sort of strength that you've got of that curl of the feet over, can you use it to slightly push you forward? And then ease back. And then push forward. And easing back. The difference now that's happening is that we're rolling forward over the fibers. Just take one more forward and back. And just back to where it might feel like natural and neutral for us. Lift the right arm up and out to the side like you're hovering your right arm off the floor. Move the right arm back towards your body. And then lower the hand down. Lift the arm back up. Good. And then very slowly, you can see how we're rolling over those muscles again. Move the arm out so it's in line with your shoulder. Rotate the arm slowly as though you're trying to turn your palm upwards towards the ceiling, so your arm's rolling in. What do you feel? And bring the arms slowly back. Keep the palm facing upwards. Good, until the arm comes back by the side and down. Good, palm will face down now. Arm up, back out into that, I call it a T position. Can we continue, and watch we're not pulling off this ball, go out in front now. Bring the arm back out to T, very, very slowly. back down to the floor. And slide the hand in and to where it feels comfortable. Left arm up. Out towards T. Watching that we're not pulling off the take the arm, palm down, around towards your side. Back out to T. Turn the palm up to ceiling. Do the same again now. Back, palm still facing up. Until you get to that point where the arm has to turn down to come back out to T. And continue the arm out in front slowly. Back out in line with the T. Keeping that same weight on both left arm, right arm, one more out in front. You're not pulling back. And then finally back out to the side. Bend the elbow, place both of them back onto the floor. Okay, let the head drop. We're ready to use the hands by sides, like we would say push up out of our down dog, up and back here. And take a seat. Doesn't matter where it is, you can do it in your block posters or your blocks, or I've got my trusty ledge. Comes in handy, this trusty ledge. Take a moment. Let's just try and digest this. Pecs, both of them at the same time, pretty tough. Not getting much reprieve on either side, just really getting in quite deeply to those sort of full layers of fascia. More that junction of arm and trunk coming together. Alright, now, so that was blocks and that was gravity working. You could do this as a single option, whereby you use the ball and here, so we were very much in this little pocket here, okay, of the chest. But that's not just the chest, like pectoralis major, we've got pec major, pec and pec minor. They all come and attach here onto the sternum. So they literally come from your sternum right across. So all of this is is pec muscle. Your breast is pectoralis major. So we sort of missed this little junction through here where the sternum and the ribs come and connect down, and there's a lot of flesh in between this. We know that, we call them the intercostal muscles, we know all about them. I'm going to suggest that we use a ball and the hand, and I like to use this
pulling down kind of action, like we do when we do our neck stretches. Okay, but now with perhaps a little bit more, so 2 hands on and pressing, and then just rolling the ball down. It's almost like it's coming down towards that outer armpit. So clavicle, okay, and across the pecs. And towards the armpit. And you can reverse, you can go back up. Pressing down and pulling down. Keeping the chin, you know, nice and level rather than dropping the head, so that we this creates stretch through the pecs. And breathing out just to let that area soften. And sometimes, like literally, just by releasing these chest muscles, the neck frees up, front and back of the neck frees up. Yeah, the jawline softens. Actually, there was one that we were doing the other day, and someone commented in the comments how we did nothing related to the neck at all. We didn't do it, or the jaw, so we didn't do any of our jaw releases that sometimes we do with the ball. Yet their jaw felt completely freed up from the release we did. Good. Return it back. When we get back to the sternum, we'll just stop there for a moment. That was more of a rolling effect, but you can also do a pivoting effect. So it's like you've got the ball and then you're going to draw a circle with it. So it's like you push it in and you spin it. It's actually called spinning. So you could find a little spot, turn and spin, release. Find a little spot, turn and spin. You could do it with 2 hands. You'll get more rotation with 1 hand. Find a little spot, yep, turn and spin. Change it on the other side. We'll do the spins here. I'll change hands even. Now there's many layers of fascia, and this spinning effect, if we had our flesh, you'd see it, but what it's doing is you'll notice if you do it on your legs or your shins, it's twisting obviously the skin, but it's the superficial fascial layers that we're addressing. So it doesn't have to be the deep layers of fascia. It can be the top layers of fascia that's holding everything and gripping everything in super tight. Good. Sternum and twist. Sternum and twist. Let's do our little pull down, both hands on, and pull down and across, keeping that chin high. This definitely should free up the neck for anyone who feels resistance, and we can reverse this. Remember, any resistance in the neck, this sort of lack of freedom. In the neck. Just take one more. Good. Alrighty. Moment of rest and resetting. Just letting And again, you might even just do a little neck thing, see how does it feel. Because we need to find enough time to finish our practice, I'm going to go and take us into the upper back, because we haven't even got there, we're done pecs. But let me tell you that there's another variation of pec work where you can put the ball here into the block, and you can then use your body weight to sit the ball here, where we had it before, block, and use that as so for those who don't feel it much, so for example, some of the guys might not, because the strength and the fibrous nature of their pec muscles, they might need a little bit more gusto, yeah, by using their legs and their body weight to push into it. Same thing, I won't use that arm because I don't do the flowers, but that same arm could do similar actions, yeah, rising up, turning away, coming around behind the back, all of it just to change the positioning of where the muscle lies and where the balls are. Right, so let's just do the upper back, and we will need ourselves to come up on have our blocks. If you've got a casing for your blocks, my suggestion is blocks on your balls, put them in. And they go into their little capsule. Now these balls, if I face you, back to you, are going to go not on your neck, but here in this mid back, okay, right through here. I'm going to work our way down. You can use your blocks underneath your pelvis. We'll have to work out how high that needs to be. I'm probably sort of happy here. If I go too high, it'll end up sort of throwing itself into my back. Balls. Your head will lift up. Arch that upper back a little. Slither it under. And the balls are going to sit either side of this spine. Yep. So the spine runs down between the two balls. And if you need more height, then you can obviously always adjust that block and you can go up to the higher level of it. And literally let gravity sink your way down and into it. And when you're ready, let the arms go up towards the ceiling. Let your shoulder blades pull back down towards the floor. Feel as though that those shoulder blades can almost find their way to the mat. You're not going to, that's okay, we don't really want them to, but what we're aiming to do is really sink deeply into the balls. Now you might also go into a hug here, so the arms could cross and come or wrap around. You might even give yourself a little slight rock side to side here. Remember, none of the movements in fascial release are quick and busy and frictionally based. Okay? It's all quite slow and controlled, so as to allow the muscles to naturally respond and not to go into shock. Good. Come back to center. And we're going to use our feet. We're going to push ourselves down those balls a little bit, and we'll get them more into that mid-back again. Maybe a whole ball's distance back down. Again, feeling that opportunity of the shoulder blades once again to melt down into the balls. The arms could go up and let the weight of gravity press the arms down. Maybe move the arms overhead now. What's going to happen here is that the shoulder blades will fan up, but in doing so, those muscles will find a new position. Again, perhaps here a very subtle sort of rolling left to right over the balls.
Good. Release the arms slowly back overhead, above chest. Bend the elbows, bring them back down. Okay, can we press into the feet to roll us down? Just a little bit further. If the what's in needs to come with us, the block needs to come with us a little bit more, that's fine. If you want to drop down onto it a little bit more, yes, you might be able to do that, which again gives us a little bit more body weight going into it. Try those arms again upwards towards the ceiling. Really let that mid back fall into the balls. Try those arms overhang. And then imagine you're a little bit more like a rolling pin where you can literally roll this ball or series of balls in their socket up the spine a little bit more. Now that could be you just moving very slowly. It can be a pelvic rock so the pelvis can tip forward and then tip back. We always know that the movement isn't overly exaggerated, but it's certainly enough to find different aspects of the back that might need some more releasing. A little side to side. Good. And lift up, release the spine back onto the floor. Roll over to one side and take the balls out for me here. Take one ball out of the pack, and just with using one ball, just because we haven't done a lot of scap release, I'm going to suggest that we bring this ball to sit right here, this part of the scapula, and just you'll find it, trust me. If any area here is tight, you'll find that spot. We just need one spot, because that's the spot that's going to be holding us back. Find it, let your weight go into it. If it's by bending your knees and letting your weight go over into it, if it's just a matter of getting the arm up a little bit more, changing its place. Find a little sweet spot here that when you're on it, you think, oh, that is really quite strong, and I'm going to breathe through this. Just again, being mindful of not pulling away from the ball, but letting the muscle fibers sort of soften around them, and it's almost like that they're melting around and over that ball. You might even notice as you sit here, there's an epiphany that happens with the muscles, and all of a sudden the intensity may not necessarily be there, and that's just going to tell us that the fascia has decided it will, that it's affected the muscles, and the muscles have softened and they're now letting go. Okay, let's switch over to the other side. I know we could stay here for, I could be here for hours, couldn't I? Shoulders are just notorious for holding on and keeping tension. You can find that little sweet spot there in the shoulder blade where there's no hard and fast rule. So we don't have to be scientific about this. But what we need to be is very mindful of our own bodies and go, okay, nothing going on there. That's okay. If I move a little bit more to the left, if I go up a little higher, if I move this arm, oh, there it is. Great. You don't have to be a physio to know this. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to have any qualifications. You just need to know your body. That's all you need to do. You just need to listen. You just need to take your time, and we also need to breathe, because you can feel what happens when you don't breathe. Then you limit your breathing. There's this sort of more likely, what will I say, less resistance to want to let go. feel like this class needs to be an hour and a half because we could spend almost 40 minutes just doing fascial releases. I hear you all saying yes. All right. That gives us minimal amount of time to do our last little bit of practice, but we're going to do it. You could always come back to these, you know that. Even I don't want to get these balls out, it feels too nice. Okay, let's do this. Come on up. Blocks, balls, get them out of the way. Let's do a couple of cat-cows. That's the first one. Alrighty, put those thinking brains on, feeling brains on, sensory brains on. Let's see how it all feels once we've done some releases. Cat-cow. Cow on that inhale. Cat on the exhale. Even how does the movement feel? Is there any, does it feel like that it's smoother or freer? Good, one more. Neutral as we finish the last one. And breathing in, open the right arm for thread the needle. And breathe out, tuck under. Open, inhale. Tuck, exhale. Breathing in. And breathing out. Good, last one. I'm not going to hold us down. I want us to go threading the needle on the other side. Left arm open. And left arm tuck under. One last one. And tuck and thread. Good. Come on up. Right foot steps through. Here is our all four squares. Left hand onto the knee, right hand onto the hip. Find your twist here. How does it feel in the chest as we open around to the right hand side? Probably more so as we lower the left hand down and we open up that right arm. This is where it's a little stronger in that thoracic rotation. Bottom foot or back leg can turn under and come up. Breathe out, spin around you in your warrior one. All the way around, facing that front short edge of the mat. Take warrior two, split those arms. How does that back arm feel as we twist around? Triangle as we straighten the front right leg and we allow the left arm to float up. Right hand stays down there at the calf. Switch it the other way, breathe out. Breathing back, all fours, back onto that floor into your down dog. How does the upper back feel here? What about across the width of the chest, particularly as we pull forward into the plank? The lower, and then the more obvious perhaps, the up dog. Feet pressing down, hands pressing down, belly pulling in, sternum lifting. Down dog on our exhale. Again, observing across the back, observing across the front chest, the sternum. How are the shoulders feeling? We have one plank and the side plank that came out of this one. Good. Right hand, spin it around. How does that left arm unfold? Breathe out, both hands back onto the floor. Revisit your down dog. As we take the right leg to lead, we have our eagle crunch. When we bring our right leg forward, then the left leg forward. Come up slowly on your inhale. Balance on the right leg as we jump the left leg over and hook it around the right. Left arm around right arm. Wide backs. Eagle crunch. We'll just take one and breathe out, fold forward. Right leg leads us back into down dog with that left leg following one plank. Then we slowly progress down. Then the cobra on the inhale. Bend the knees. How does the bow feel? Grab the feet. The width of the chest, the work in the back. And breathe out, release, hands to floor. Push up, press back. Come all the way up onto the knees. Step through onto the left leg for our twist, our square legs. You're onto your right now. And is there any change in the ease of the twist? Is there any change as we slide the right hand down and we open the left up? How does it feel in the body? Back leg straightens. Spiral around on the inhale. Lunge or warrior one. Then you have your number two warrior, back leg. Check out those arms. I can see my back right arm. I was telling you how I thought my arm was twisted. I was happy to go this time round. Triangle, straight leg. Squeeze the left heel in, open that right arm up. Just notice the freedom and the changes. Twist it the other way. Reverse that triangle. Breathe in, hands meet the floor. Down dog. One plank, inhale. Curl it up. We'll find our up dog. And then breathe out, down dog. Our eagle pose as we step forward now. Left leg first. And breathe out, knee to chest. Come on through the front part of the mat. 2 feet together. Inhale, rise. Left leg will balance us as we take eel on this left leg. Wrap it around. Hook it. Right arm wraps around the left. Breathe out, tip, elbow to knee. Inhale, we're up. One more elbow to knee. Breathe in, rise. Feet to the floor, exhale, forward fold. We're going to lean back on the left leg now. We'll do one more down dog. This will then transfer us into our side plank, left side this time. And fold that right arm. Do we feel any stronger maybe even in that left shoulder? Come back into down dog. Plank inhale, the lower exhale. We want to finish with cobra. Bend the knees. Here we go. The last of those bow poses. Breathe out, ease back to child's. Does child's feel any different? By opening up through the pecs and opening up through the back of that shoulder blade. Sometimes this is not always a nice, necessarily a beautiful pose for people. It can be hard on the shoulders if they're stiff and tight. And then bring the arms into bend. Hands under the forehead. Take this rest. We use the inhalation. Press through the hands and slowly allow the trunk just to gently rise. Let's keep the gaze still nice and low here. You might bring your hands to meet at the heart. Head gently bows. We'll finish class with Namaste. Namaste. Oh, I could have kept you there for ages and ages. So much we could have done in this back and shoulders. But you can come back and revisit it all for sure. Or you could go back and find the roll and release in our topic section at the roll and release, all of the videos from roll and release that did neck, back and shoulders, if you loved that a little bit, when you just feel like there's just so much more freedom and spaciousness across the back, then go back into the catalogue and find some and play around with them, enjoy them. Hump day's done. You can tick that off the list. Thursday morning. Tomorrow, I don't see you at all. It's my Pilates day tomorrow, but Friday I'm back into the studio for class, and Saturday morning. So take care, everyone. Enjoy your evening, and I will grace your presence on Friday. I look forward to seeing you all then. Thanks for joining me tonight. Take care. I will sign off.